Welcome back from spring break. Hope you had a good one. And we are in week 10, so a few short weeks and then we'll be into finals week, so I can't believe it's gone this fast. This week we're switching over from looking at facility-specific material to sport event-specific material. So this unit is short. It's only 1 week, so be aware of that. Only 1 week instead of 2. So we have a due date this coming Friday. It's our reading notes. This week we're looking at a couple of things. We're looking at the idea of a program plan. So what are the various things that you need to think about when you're creating a program and that you need to have planned out, and we're going to be looking at a couple of examples of a program plan. We're also going to look at risk management, and in sport we have basically 3 main broad general ways of dealing with risk. So in sport there's always going to be risk. We can't have sport without risk. So think about skiing. Is there a way to take all of the risk out of skiing? No, there's always going to be a risk. You can always fall. You can always trip, sprain, strain, have a health issue, have a collision, have a crash. That's just part of what sport is. And every sport has risks because we're human and we are subject to injuries, accidents, and sport involves us, moving or racing or bumping into each other. So there's risk involved in sport. We can't have sport without risk. So the 3 main strategies for dealing with risk involve the first one is avoiding risk. And I just mentioned that we can't do that. We can't avoid risk and have sport. So if you don't want to break your leg skiing, then don't go skiing is basically the answer to that question. We can't avoid risk in sport. So that one's off the table. Our second strategy with risk in sport is to minimize risk. And we do this a lot. And this is one of the things that I want to see in your event administration plan. I think this is one of the questions that I ask. So we may have a safety plan for an event, or we may have crossing guards that help stop traffic during a marathon or a 5K or something like that. So those are ways that we minimize risks. We may make sure that the pothole is covered or marked so the 5K doesn't run runners through the pothole. So, small things like that. We inspect a field. Before a soccer game, we inspect the field for things like shards of glass or big holes. Those are techniques we have to minimize risks. A lot of them are common sense, and you've probably done them before in your life. And the third main way that we address risk in sports is to transfer the risk. And this is the concept of a waiver or release of liability. So in a waiver, we explicitly educate the participant on what the risks are. So in skiing, for example, risks include falling, sprains, strains, breaks, collisions, frostbite. So we make sure that the participant knows what those risks are, and then they sign a release that says they accept those risks. They're okay with those risks, and they're not going to make us responsible for them. So that's the idea of transferring risks to a participant, and that's the idea of a waiver. So we're going to look at those things when we talk about risk management in events. We are rolling on the event administration project. So you turned in your first task progress form before spring break, and your second task progress form is due on April the 13th. So make sure that you have that deadline in your sites coming up. So remember, I'm just going to repeat, this is a short unit, which means that there is a due date this coming Friday, and it's a reading notes. Have a good week, and I will talk to you soon.